With all of these interviews, there are obviously details that we cannot confirm. He was part of a terrorist organization, and there are events that he describes where he is the only witness. What is reassuring about Harry Sarfo's testimony is that the German intelligence officials that I spoke to, who debriefed him and who spent hours and hours interviewing and re-interviewing him, they say that to date they have found no inconsistencies in his story.
Did you find out how ISIS coordinates attacks in foreign countries?
Harry Sarfo's testimony is, to me, the final confirmation of what I had seen in over 100,000 pages of investigation documents from French intelligence, from Belgian, from German, and from Austrian officials. And what we learn in the collective testimony that you see there is that inside of ISIS there is a secretive body known as the Emni. And the Emni is the entity that is in charge both of policing the area under ISIS control and also in charge of exporting fighters overseas. What they do is they keep tabs on the dormitories where new recruits arrive and are housed in Syria. These dormitories are typically just across the border from Turkey. And as soon as a recruit arrives that has the profile that they're looking for, namely a particular citizenship and possibly a criminal network that he can tap into back in Europe, then he is plucked from that dormitory, he is sent through an accelerated training program, and he is sent back with encryption tools that allow him to communicate with his ISIS handler and with instructions on how to get weapons and targeting.
And do you know how they communicate between the ISIS base in Syria and the jihadis that are in the West, in Europe, for instance?
It seems it seems as if there's a variety of means. An ISIS operative named Reda Hame, who's a French citizen and who was arrested last summer upon returning to France, he described a convoluted system that involved the encryption software named TrueCrypt. So he was supposed to use TrueCrypt, encrypt a message to his ISIS handler, and then that message, instead of being sent by email or some other electronic means where it would be easy to detect, was supposed to be uploaded on a Turkish website from where it could be downloaded by his handler. That's just one method. Harry Sarfo said that the fighters he knew that were going back were using an encrypted application known as Threema. I have also used this application in speaking to ISIS and Al-Qaeda members, and so I know that it is in vogue.
FBI Chief Comey said that he expects a diaspora of ISIS fighters to the West. Do you think that we have to expect large and organized attacks in the West and in Europe?
I think it's inevitable that there will be more attacks. The attacks, however, are going to be, as we have seen, small attacks, like what we saw in Würzburg, Germany, where a young man took a knife and stabbed passengers on a train. From that to the Nice attack, involving a truck, and then to the November 13th attacks in Paris, which were the most planned. I think what we can expect is a pitter-patter of these different levels of attacks, small, medium, and large.
Will this be homegrown jihadis or ISIS fighters?
There's a melange of the two. So what Harry Sarfo explained to us, and what we also see from investigation documents, is that on the one hand there are fighters who come to Syria, are trained by the group, and are dispatched back. But at the same time, the group is also reaching into Europe through nothing more than the internet and radicalizing people in situ. We tend to think of the organized attacks by fighters who are sent back from Syria as the most dangerous. In fact, the Nice attacker, who, as far as we know, never traveled to Syria, and if anything was in touch with the Islamic State recently, he was able, with a single truck, to kill 84 people. The November 13th attackers in Paris were 10 attackers, and they altogether killed 130 people, meaning roughly 13 per person. So in fact, we're saying that the people radicalized in situ can be even more dangerous than the people that are sent back by ISIS directly from the core.
France and Germany and Great Britain are specifically named as targets. The Netherlands are not. Is the Netherlands not a target?
What ISIS has made clear is that all of the members of the coalition that are targeting ISIS are enemies of theirs. I have not seen Netherlands specifically singled out, but I also haven't been looking. So I would say that it's fair to assume that if Netherlands is playing a role in the offensive in Syria, whether it's logistical support or something more, that it is fair to assume that it too is in the crosshairs of the Islamic State.
Ms. Callimachi, thank you very much for your comments.